Welcome to EPB News, home of the news and updates connected to the documentary film episode Backlash. I am your digital host. In the wake of reports coming in from all over the place that cinema auditoriums were mostly empty over Captain Marvel's opening weekend, fans everywhere are wondering how the film could have generated almost $500 million worldwide, especially with mixed reviews. It must be said that no concrete evidence has been found to prove Disney or Marvel have been buying out movie seats to inflate Captain Marvel's box office figures. No accusations or allegations are being made in this news bulletin. However, what evidence is there, generally, that buying out movie seats is something that does actually happen in the film industry, to support speculation among fans that the very idea of this is not as far-fetched as it might seem? If you're a film company and you want to manipulate the box office figures to make a movie seem more popular than it really is, the easiest way to do it is obviously to bulk buy seats, simply to benefit from the box office headlines, regardless of how many customers were actually inside the theatre. Doing this also has the advantage of creating the false impression of high demand when a genuine ticket buyer checks online to see what seats are available. If a person sees that lots of seats have apparently been taken, they are more likely to buy their tickets there and then, thinking they might lose out otherwise. Also, and this is very important, if you're a film company and you spend, for example, $100 million buying out seats, you haven't actually spent $100 million because the cinema owner shares the ticket revenue with the film company on roughly a 50-50 basis, no matter who's paid for the seats. So, the film company actually gets back $50 million of the $100 million spent to buy the seats and still benefits from the market perception that $100 million worth of ticket sales were achieved. That's an incredible benefit. Your movie is able to boast that it earned $100 million even though you bought the seats, and yet it didn't actually cost you $100 million to buy those seats in the first place, because you've been handed back $50 million from the box office revenue share you have with the cinema operators. Meanwhile, the money the film company spent buying out the seats would, presumably, go down as a marketing cost anyway, and then be written off as an expense against the profits of the film. In other words, depending on how the accounting is handled, buying out those seats may end up costing you nothing whatsoever. It should go without saying, this is not recommended business practice, and nothing in this news bulletin should be mistaken as strategic or business advice. Nevertheless, you can see how that kind of arrangement can work out very nicely if you're that way inclined as a film company. Especially if a film company really wants to create the impression that the film was a hit. But, in reality, has this ever happened before? Are there any examples, including evidence, to prove that this practice does indeed happen? Yes, there are. It even has its own terminology. It's called ghost screenings. Star Wars actor Donnie Yen, no less, found one of his own movies embroiled in a ghost screening scandal, where the film's distributor finally admitted the wrongdoing. Obviously, this wasn't Donnie's fault, and no slur on his character, or that of Star Wars, is intended.
Hold on there a minute, Bot. Sorry to jump into your thing, but why wouldn't a film company do this with every film?
Because it's very risky. If you get caught, the penalties can be severe. It is not something a film company is likely to do more than once or twice at the most, especially if you are a publicly traded company, unless the film company is incredibly stupid. In the United States, for example, artificially inflating earnings could lead to an investigation by the Securities and Exchange Commission, which could include legal action and prosecution for fraud. Ghost screenings are not an apparition of the mind. They are no conspiracy theory. They are real. In fact, just check the links below. Film companies have been exposed before, and no doubt will be exposed again. Nothing is implied in this news bulletin beyond that which is expressly stated.